Hey guys, Dr. Andy here. Today I want to talk about shoulder injuries in youth athletes. So super common for football, so any kind of contact sport, obviously like football, but we also tend to see it a lot with our baseball players. Okay, so our youth baseball players, high school, maybe even as young as middle school, where they're developing a lot of shoulder pain. Okay, so the shoulder pain can actually be in a couple of different areas. It could kind of come along the front, it could come along the top right here, through here, sometimes even down here in the last little bit, but this whole kind of region, at the moment, we're just gonna classify this as a shoulder problem at the moment, all right? It's super complicated. So as I was just saying, there's many different regions to the shoulder where we can develop pain. And that means it can range from anything from a shoulder instability problem, it could be a loss of mobility through the thoracic spine and the neck, it could be rotator cuff. So the first thing that we're doing, and again, it's going to differ depending on if this was a contact injury, you know, from our football players, or is this a pitcher, you know, who's hoping to kind of make the college team, right, or get a college scholarship, and he's just been throwing his shoulder out, been doing it too much, and as a result, we develop an overuse injury, right? So depending on how it started and where that pain is, we got to figure out what the main pain driver is, all right? So step number one, when we have a shoulder injury in some of our kids through sports, we got to do a great eval. We got to have a great assessment that's going to take a deep dive look into, is this instability, is this joint blockage, is this not even a shoulder problem, is this pain coming through the mid-back, right? Sometimes we got to even triage it, and if we're kind of concerned about it, we might send you out to the ortho and get some MRIs to make sure that this is a chiropractic case after all, okay? But once we've done a good eval, we're gonna start with treatment. And believe it or not, when we start with treatment through the shoulder, we might not even start in the shoulder itself. I might start down here in the core, okay? And the reason for that is if we lose, it's possible that you lost instability in your core first, and as a result, everything else starts to function poorly. And then we develop a shoulder problem because the core is not working right. So first thing that we might do is we might restabilize the core, which will actually start to restabilize the shoulder and take away some of our pain, all right? On top of some good core rehab and on top of some good shoulder rehab to stabilize the shoulder if that's what needs to be done. If we have any kind of muscle problem, we tend to move towards dry needling. Dry needling is like acupuncture. It's extremely effective for shoulder injuries. Obviously, if you're a parent, I need you here if they're a kid, I need you here for those kind of visits as well. And then if we've got any kind of joint blockage, most of the time, it's not coming from the shoulder. Most of the time, if we have a actual joint restriction type problem, it's coming from the mid-back. And that's because of something called regional interdependence. Your shoulder needs a mobile mid-back in order to do its job, in order to be stable. And if this area right through here is not moving very well, maybe you can't extend, maybe you can't flex, maybe you can't rotate, in order to make up for the loss of mobility through this region, the shoulder takes most of the load, all right? So this area is going to become unstable, much more likely to hurt yourself. We're going to develop a whole lot of muscle spasms and trigger points and pain through the shoulder because of problems in the mid-back. And that's why that good eval, good assessment at the beginning is so important. So if you are a youth athlete or you have a son or a daughter who's a contact sport or a baseball player and you're developing any kind of pain in the shoulder, it is important to take care of it now before it becomes something a whole lot more serious, like maybe a slap tear. Especially that's worrisome for our baseball players because that's a great recipe for having to undergo surgery for a torn labrum in the shoulder. So that's ultimately something we want to avoid. So if you start to develop some shoulder pain, take care of the pain, take care of the imbalances that are causing that problem in our youth athletes, and we'll be able to kind of save the headache later on, all right? If you have any questions, send them my way. Always remember to live with passion, not pain.